to another edition of our biblical series. I'm Pastor Anthony. This is Brendan. And so, excuse me, we'll turn this over to Brendan.
Yeah, you mentioned in the article that the Bible is entirely about the restoration of a broken world through Jesus Christ. How can it be entirely about that?
Well, that's the central part of the story. As I've described, that the Bible is broken up into 6 acts, if you will. There's the world's beginning. The world was made to flourish in life-giving perfection and beauty. That was God's original design, without any sin or any defect. But then there was Act 2 is humanity's rebellion. Humanity has rebelled against God's plan and has turned towards self-centeredness, and the world has drifted away into a place where destruction and horrible things happen. But then next comes Israel's quest. God chose one man, and through that one man, Abraham, came the nation of the Jews. And that was the dawn of God's redemptive plan through one nation, to be a light to the nations, and to out of that to become the backdrop, the nation, the womb, if you will, from which Jesus Christ came. And Jesus, being truly God, truly man, came, lived a perfect life. He modeled for us how we are to love, to treat, to behave and respond to one another in community and as people made in God's image. And then with all of our flaws, he lived a perfect life, but he died on the cross. He was buried and he resurrected and he ascended to heaven. He made the perfect sacrifice for our sins, showing us the depth of God's love as well as paying the penalty. And then from there comes the mission of the church, which is to take that life-giving reality that Jesus brought and to spread it to every corner of humanity. And then ultimately Jesus will return to claim that, to restore that which has not yet been restored, and to overturn that which is in complete rebellion against God. And so all of that is centered around Jesus Christ.
I know we talked about this in a previous blog, but I just think it's amazing how there's a cohesion to the message of the Bible, all the way from Genesis to Revelation, despite the fact that the Bible spans multiple different authors across multiple different cultures. It's amazing how it turned out that way.
It was written over 1,400 years, covering at the very least 6,000 year or 4,000 year period history, which comes into 6,000 at the very least. And so
yeah, and that is amazing with the caveat, or with the accepting of the fact that the Bible is a valid historical document, which you claim in your article. And how would you support that claim that the Bible is authentic?
Well, the Bible, it claims to be historical from beginning to end. It uses all kinds of genres, poetry and metaphors and those kind of things, but it all pertains to historical realities with dates, with people, with geography that has been repeatedly verified thousands of times over by corresponding documents, by archaeological finds, so that we know there was a David. We know, like, used to be doubted that the Hittites were really people. They thought it was complete myth and made up, but now we have tons of evidence, historical, archaeological, that the Hittites, as well as many others. You can just go through thousands of examples, which are quite stunning to show that this connects in real time, real space, and real history. This is not myth or fable, but took place in the time and space in which we live, which God created.
Right. There's too many things outside of the Bible that confirm the events that happened. And kind of on this similar vein of thought, you mentioned that the Bible has accurately predicted the future before. Can you go into that a bit?
Yeah. Well, I say that because, fables and myths, they don't predict the future. They don't claim to. The Bible does. I mean, that has, hundreds of predictions, 300 about Jesus Christ alone, whether it's just allusions or direct predictions. But go back to, the dawn of the election of the nation of Israel, Genesis 12. God said to Abraham, I will make you into a great nation, and through your descendants all of the nations of the world will be blessed. Well, within a period of 450 or some odd years, Abraham's descendants became a great nation in Egypt and left Egypt, and then out of them came the Messiah, and then all the nations of the Gentiles, became blessed. You can look at Jeremiah's incredible prophecy and prediction that 70 years Israel would be taken into captivity in Babylon, and then they would return. It happened perfectly. You can go to Daniel chapter 9 and look at the 490 years, and that's a little more complex of how God was going to restore, the nation of Israel and fulfill a plan, and it's happened perfectly. There's 7 years remaining, which are in the book of Revelation. You can look at Jesus Christ, who said that the temple would be destroyed. That one stone would not be left upon another, and that was an unbelievable prediction, because there looked like no way that the temple would ever go, and probably within about less than 40 years the temple was completely destroyed. So you could go on and on and on and on with the predictions of the Bible, but this puts it completely and entirely in a whole nother realm beyond the categories of myth or fable. It accurately records the past, but it accurately predicts the future.
Yeah, it's clearly evident that the Bible's of supernatural origin.
Yeah.
It's a supernatural book.
Exactly.
There's nothing else like it. Well, that's all the questions we have for today. Thanks for joining me, Anthony.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining Anthony and I today on the Biblical Story video series. Please subscribe to the Crossroads CCO YouTube channel, like, and share this video. Until next time.